Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Mojo Homestead, where I am flying solo this weekend because Cass and the girls are at a dance competition. If this is your first time joining us, I'm Jeremy. My wife is Cass. She's normally with me, but as I just said, she's out of town this weekend. We've got a good bit going on this weekend that we're trying to get done. One is planting this lavender underneath our olive tree, creating a little bit of a guild here, basically just like plants in the same area. Lavender, like the olive tree, doesn't like a lot of water. So figured we'd give it a shot here. Lavender is super iffy in South Carolina, so we're gonna see how this stuff does. But this weekend's video is mainly about grafting and grafting apples specifically, but the principle applies to pretty much anything you're gonna graft together. So we did a video on it about a year ago, and I just figured, you know what, let's put another video out there because we've got a lot of new people, which brings me to my next point. If you have just found us or recently found us, welcome. And as we like to say, welcome to the family, welcome to our YouTube family. And we appreciate you joining along with us on this journey. If you have been with us for a while, welcome back. We're glad that you are still with us. But as I said, we've got a lot going on this weekend. We have garden work we got to get done, some just prep work, getting the rest of the wood chips down, which if you missed that video, we did a video, I think it was about a week and a half ago, on just the difference of mulch and wood chips and all of the benefits of using wood chips, not just in the garden, but just having them on the homestead. So I will link that right now, and you can check that out if you want to. But as for this video, let's go ahead and cut straight to grafting because I have become very much obsessed with it. Check it out. All right guys, so one of the things that we're gonna be working on this weekend is grafting apple trees. So basic things that you need: tape, ideally not Scotch tape. I could not find our painter's tape. That's what I prefer to have because it will kind of rot and break easily. So you don't ever have to worry about going back and removing it. I'm just gonna have to keep an eye on this and remove it when the time comes. You also want a pair of good sharp shears and your scions, which are cuttings from other apple trees. So the benefit of doing this is so that you can get a variety of apples without having to have a variety of trees. It's a great way to save space if you are limited on space, and you can really maximize orchard space without taking up a lot of room in your yard or garden or wherever it may be. Now you hear the word grafting and you may think, whoa, that's like pretty technical. It's really pretty easy. I would say don't get overly stressed about it. Try it. If it fails, it's no big deal. Now we did a video on this about a year ago, and I had probably about 50% success rate with what took and what didn't take. The biggest thing is you want to try to hit it at the right time. Make sure sap flow has started, because that is going to cause that joint to seal together and heal and take to the tree. So basic rule in grafting is make sure it's in the same family. So most of your stone fruits are going to be in the same family. So like peaches, apricots, nectarines, all of those are stone fruits, a fruit that has a big seed in the middle. Those can be grafted together. Apples, any variety of apple can be grafted onto another variety of apple. Crabapple, I think, can actually be grafted onto an apple as well. And then, you know, your pears, you can graft those. Citrus, all citrus can be grafted to each other. The biggest benefit is maximizing the space that you have without having to have a whole bunch of land to have all these different varieties. The other thing is, it just makes a good conversation piece. If you have red apples, green apples, golden apples, all on one tree, it does look kind of cool as they're all coming on. So we're gonna get started. The first thing, you want a scion. Scion is basically a cutting off of another tree. And ideally you want them around this size right here. For reference sake, you know, there's my finger, there's the thing, there's the scion. So not too thick, but also not too thin. And then you want to find a branch that's going to be the same size as it. So this one I would have to cut way down here. Actually, this one has some suckers coming off of it. I will definitely use these lower ones to graft onto this. So this tree that I'm trying to graft onto is a pink lady apple. It's actually the first full year we've had it. We planted it last year. And then the two varieties that I got cuttings from are an Anna and a Dorset. So both of those are kind of a short, low chill hour. All three of these actually are low chill hours, meaning they don't require a lot of cool temperatures. So they should all be flowering about the same time and have the same success rate at flowering and setting fruit because of those similar chill hours. So I found the branch that I want to use, and when you're doing this, you want to try to get as close to the trunk as possible. It just makes it a little bit easier on the graft. And again, pick the same thickness. We're gonna make that cut right there. Boom. And then what you're wanting to do is shave this one down into a wedge, and then we're gonna put a splice in here. So basically, there we go, just like that. You definitely wanna make sure you're seeing green when you do that. That is a sign that there is still life in this and that it will have a chance of taking. And then at this one, if you can see, I'm just going straight down. We're gonna try to carefully, ooh, man, I wish these were a little bit sharper. I may have to go get a knife for this. All right, we're gonna try this again. Got just a basic sharp kitchen knife, and this is working much better. Also have a little bit more control over this. Ideally, you wanna use a razor blade for this. So you're gonna go down about the same depth as your wedge is on the other one. There we go. And then wedge this bad boy in there, just like so. Just down to where the wedge stops. Just like that. And then we're gonna take the tape it together, just helps to hold it really tight. And you wanna make sure you can wrap it several times around there. It just helps to keep disease out, helps to keep pests out. Also, you really don't want rainwater getting down in there, only because that can help promote any disease or stuff like that. And there we go. It is that simple. So, like I said, I'm gonna cut both of these guys off and graft onto that one because these are really coming off right at the base. And so this will basically just turn this section into a whole new tree rather than just a branch. And we're gonna see how they go. We'll keep you updated. I'm gonna take you right now though and show you the most successful graft that took last year from what we did. So this is the peach tree right here. It is starting to blossom out. Actually, I just noticed that, so I'm super excited about that. But this right here, if you can see it, this big, crazy wart looking thing right here, I'll bring you closer in, is where the graft was last year. And it is really taken. So the painter's tape, you can see, just kind of rust off, bust out of it. And then this whole piece right here is from the graft that we did with the apricot. This one will be a two-toned bloomer. The apricot blooms white and the peach blooms more of a peachy pink color. So this one will be really fun. The front half is a peach. The whole back half of this tree is gonna be an apricot. Our peach trees have not done great. One of them actually, I'm not sure I'm gonna leave it after this year, depending on what it does. But this was actually done as almost like a saving grace for this one to see what would come of it if with the graft on there. So far I'm happy. This peach tree, the front half was healthy, the back half wasn't doing so great, so that's why I picked a side where I wanted that apricot to fill in. So this is the first year we have any kind of apricot bloom, so I'm excited to see what this does. Now these can cross-pollinate each other. That's the other benefit of grafting, is that it creates a pollinating community real close. So it can pretty much guarantee that you're gonna have good pollination, especially with things like apples that have to be cross-pollinated. The 3 varieties that I put together just now, they are all compatible. They will cross-pollinate each other. And so it just puts all those flowers in one area. So the bees aren't having to go from tree to cross-pollinate. They can cross-pollinate on the same tree. That will just increase your yields and also the chance of it getting cross-pollinated. This apple tree came from my parents' house. It's a German apple, and it is extremely low chill hour apple, meaning it only needs, like, if I remember right, like 200 chill hours, which is ridiculous for an apple tree. And then it is grafted onto a Golden Delicious apple tree. So the Golden Delicious needs more chill hours, but you know, it still took, this one obviously is budding out earlier because it doesn't require those chill hours. So yeah, I've had, I'd say, a pretty productive day today, thanks to the help of Josiah and our friend John, who has been on some of our other videos. Just a little fun side note, he is staying with us for a little while, so he's really kind of learning how to get his hands dirty in the homesteading lifestyle. So I do still have to get some seeds started, so I'm gonna be working on that probably tomorrow, not really so much today. And I think that's pretty much it. We're doing that a little bit different this year also. We just plant them directly in like a seed starting mix, but this year we're gonna try to start them in the little plugs, get them going inside because they take up a lot less room when you do it that way, and then transplant them into a little bit bigger pot and start growing them out for them to be transplanted into the garden. I also really am hoping I'll have time sometime in the next day to start working on just the layout and design and figuring out dimensions of the greenhouse, because I'm really excited about that. We are still gonna do highs and lows, even though Cass isn't with me. We're just gonna do them separate, so a little bit different. So here we go, highs and lows.
Hey y'all, so I have been in Myrtle Beach all weekend watching my girls dance with their studio at a competition. If you can tell, I've kind of lost my voice from screaming and cheering them on. But I wanted to make sure I got my highs and lows in. My high for this week was definitely watching these girls showcase all their hard work and compete in this competition. They did a great job and performed at their best. They gave it their all. So I am just super proud of them and what they did and what they accomplished this weekend. My low is probably the window. So we have these windows that we got for our greenhouse, and one of them in particular is a window that I fell in love with 6 years ago when we were looking for stuff to build our house. It's the really big window with all these little sections, and we wanted to put it in our house. I wanted to put it in our house, but it wasn't practical. So we got it for the greenhouse. And this week, on Friday, it blew over, and there are some sections that are lost that will probably need to be replaced. I haven't looked at it, but Jeremy was telling me there are some window sections that definitely broke, and there's evidence of termite damage in the wood, which is just like, man, you know, it breaks my heart that there's damage. The good part of that though is now we know what we need to fix, and it is usable still. We'll be able to use it, which is good, but I'm just a little disappointed that there's some damage to it, of course, and that it kind of feels like it sets the greenhouse back a little bit more, but it's fine. We'll get it done. I just can't wait.
Yeah, so definitely an unfortunate thing there. I do think it's still going to be salvageable the more I look at it, but yeah, it just adds a little bit more work to the project, work that we were not anticipating. But hey, you know, sometimes that happens. For me, I think my high would be our broccoli harvest. We had to go ahead and harvest it because they were starting to go to bloom. We really warmed up this past week, pushing like 80 degrees. But they all had really good size heads on them. We did plant 2 different varieties, and unfortunately, I don't remember which ones they were because one didn't perform very well. The other one like outperformed itself. They have beautiful heads on them. So I think that's probably my high. My other high, being able to get out into the garden and work today and really start prepping it. The first like phases of prepping it for this year's planting, which is always super exciting for me. Anyway, my low would be the greenhouse windows falling also, but I really think my bigger low would be we lost one of our rabbits this week. It was Sayla's rabbit. Really sad. We could tell something was wrong with it. We couldn't really figure it out, diagnose it fast enough. It just started losing weight really fast. It would still eat, still had a great appetite, still drank water. So not real sure if any of you guys are familiar with rabbits and have any kind of idea. We'd love to hear it just so that we can avoid it in the future. But yeah, it was just a really unfortunate thing. And he was our buck. We have, I think, pretty much decided that we're going to probably phase out rabbits on our homestead as far as raising them for meat. It's just a lot of work for a little bit of meat. Now, you can get a lot of meat off of rabbits. Don't hear me wrong on that. But as far as the individual rabbits, it's just not a lot of meat. And we have just found that we enjoy the bigger animals a little bit more, especially when it comes to raising them for meat. But anyway, all that aside, definitely my low losing him. Even though we had decided to move away from it, still a really sad thing, especially when it's something like that. But as the saying goes, if you've got livestock, you also have dead stock. So just the reality of homesteading. Anyway, thank you guys again for joining us. We are so glad that you are along for this adventure with us, and your support in just watching this, keeping up with us, means so much to us. We really do appreciate it. We are also, if you don't know, big on community, so we do have a couple of ways to connect with us and to connect with others. You can connect with us on Facebook if you have not already. We are Homesteading from Scratch. It's not so much like your typical homesteading groups where it's asking questions. So there's definitely questions that are asked, but we really try to focus it and gear it more towards like just life as a homesteader and sharing your ups and your downs and all of that stuff. We even do highs and lows on there. So if you have not found us on there, we'd love for you to find us and join us on that group. But in the meantime, guys, have a great week and be blessed.